For it. All right. Okay. Can you give the slide to me, or and then I'll share it in my screen? Is it possible?
Sorry. Should I send you the
Yes.
file?
Yeah. You can send it in WhatsApp, or maybe, yeah, or maybe here. Can you send it? I think in chat. Yes, you can send it in chat also. Yes.
I've sent it in WhatsApp.
Okay. Okay. Wait. All right. I got it. Wait. Need to download it. Okay. Wait. Oh, who's singing? Okay, now I'll share the screen. Okay. All right. You can start now, Mr. Imran.
Yeah. So I'll give a presentation on my work for the design of electric motorbike, which is designed for Pakistani market. Can we go next?
Okay, next. Okay, wait. Sorry, okay. Right. Okay, this one.
So this is my introduction. I'm basically a mechanical engineer by my graduation degree, and then automotive design I have done from Coventry University in 2003. I have worked with a number of brands like Volvo, Land Rover, Transmobile, and Atom Motors. So I was responsible for working on the indigenous vehicle designed in Pakistan, which was the very first vehicle for Pakistan. Okay. I was also part of the team that worked on the first ever truck that was designed and manufactured in Pakistan. And then I worked on customization of the Land Rover Defender based vehicles and developed some specialized vehicles for military based on Land Rover Defender. My fields of interest range from automobiles, product design, architecture, interior, and furniture design. Okay, so I have also good contributions in the academic field. I have taught in the University of Gujarat for product design department and supervised their final year projects um, for the pioneer batch. And nowadays I'm working with the University of Lahore as in the mechanical department as assistant professor. I have developed expertise in manual sketching, digital sketching, CAD, CAE, and I have worked on feasibility reports, developing a project from sketch to realization and to mass production. So I have a very versatile experience in which I have done a variety of works. So next slide, please.
Okay, next slide. Okay, wait. This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can see the very beautiful scenery here. This is Fairy Meadows, Nanga Parbat range in Pakistan. You can see beautiful glaciers and very nice scenery, mountains. But the problem is that when we develop technology and move ahead, we destroy some of the elements of the nature. At the moment, we are facing rise in carbon dioxide and some other gases, which are pollutants emitted mostly by engines and the human beings as well, right? So what it is doing is that it is melting these glaciers, and there is a danger of destroying the very mother nature here. And we are already facing its effect in our country as the temperatures are rising very high. We had very severe summer this year we are passing through, and very high temperatures touching 50 centigrade. So what we have to do is we have to protect this very mother nature and our earth where we live. So next slide.
Okay.
So what we need to do is we have to take care of our earth where we live, which is our home, and where our generations have to live. Although there are dreams of living on Mars, but and exploring other planets in the universe, but that is, I think, far future. We'll not be able to see those dreams coming true. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to concentrate on our earth, protecting it and making it habitable. So for that purpose, there is a requirement of transition from fossil fuel based powertrains to electrical powertrains. So we have to leave what the engines which we like very much, which produce very nice sound and give us power and pleasure for driving, to very quiet electric motors. And I think there was a thought around the year 2000 that we should convert to electric powertrains, and the solution they had been working for was fuel cells. Honda and Toyota were investing in these technologies, but in 2008 or 10, Tesla came into from nothing into existence, and it started developing electric vehicles combined with the different technologies. I mean, they didn't give thought over fuel cell, and they put the batteries inside the car, and they brought the software technologies and went for artificial intelligence, and that changed the world. And all of a sudden, everybody, I think, thought, what is happening there? Okay, so they thought that this is the solution we need to go for. Also, the environmental effects are getting severe. So everybody has seen now that this is the only way we have to move forward. Let the fuel cells get developed, but we should convert to electric powertrains. So can we go to next slide, please? So the solution is from fossil-based fuel powertrains to hybrid powertrains, and then to electrical powertrains. Okay. At the moment, we are in the phase where we should have hybrid vehicles. We are reducing the size of engines so that the carbon dioxide produced by the engines might be smaller. We need, whenever we need power, we can utilize turbocharged engines. Okay, so that's one way to resolve the problem. Sorry, any questions?
So far, no question.
Yes, please.
There any question? Right?
So far, no.
Okay.
Not yet question.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. So I can move ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so the current solution is hybrid vehicles, which is a combination of IC engines and electric motor. These vehicles are using batteries for them. And then our ultimate solution is electric powertrains, vehicles powered by batteries carrying energy, and then and the powertrain is based on electric motors. So can we move to the next slide, please?
Okay, wait, Imran, wait, okay, wait. I need to capture the moment while you are giving the lecture. All right. Okay.
Right. So this is a small comparison between fossil fuel-based powertrain and electrical powertrains. In fossil fuel-based powertrains, we have electrical engine, we have engine, okay, IC engine, and it is controlled by an ECU. And then we have fuel tank where our whole energy is residing. So we have chemical energy stored in the fuel, which the engine converts. Engine converts that chemical energy into thermal energy, and then that thermal energy is converted into mechanical energy or kinetic energy by the engine. So on the other hand, in electrical powertrain, we have batteries which store the energy, although it can be in chemical form based in the cells, but we use that electrical energy to run the motors, and which convert electrical energy into kinetic energy. And these motors have controllers which control the way the motors have to behave and provide power. So next slide, please. So there is a small comparison between the power and torque behavior of electrical powertrain and the fossil fuel-based powertrains. So the red one is power and the blue one is torque. Okay. So the IC engines have very low torque in the start, and that starts beginning getting higher to a mid-range, then it starts dropping. Power is a multiplicative factor of the torque. So it starts rising when RPM starts increasing. Okay, so you see this increasing trend, and this fall is seen evident only when the torque has fallen very badly. The power also starts falling down. On the other hand, in electrical powertrains, the torque is very high in the beginning, and it provides constant torques. And then all of a sudden, when the motor starts heating up, it starts falling down. Power, again, it is a multiplicative factor of the torque with the RPMs. So it starts rising from nothing, from 0 to a high range. So that's why the behavior of the electrical powertrain is quite different as compared to IC engines. And we see a high acceleration in electrical powertrains, which is not seen in IC engines. IC engines cannot compete that easily with the electrical powertrains. Nowadays, we have very efficient motors. You see the number has increased to 1,000, 2,000 horsepower, and very, very interesting numbers. And the weight, they are able to produce motors at the moment, which are maybe 10 kgs or 20 kgs producing 100 kilowatts. This is impossible for IC engines. So that is the kind of technology we have at the moment for motors. Okay, so motors are performing far better than IC engines. So next slide, please. So there are different type of motors, single phase, three phase. These are AC motors. Then there are DC motors, and then there are BLDC motors. And then there are a number of types of BLDC motors, which are in the market at the moment. But most common type is called sort of BLDC motor. On the other hand, there are batteries, which are nickel metal hydride battery, lithium ion battery, lithium iron phosphate battery, ultra capacitors, and then fuel cells. So these are basically energy storage system, which we are using in electric powertrains. Okay, so next slide, please. So Megwas is the company for which I'm working at the moment. I'm the founding member of this company, and this was initiated by one of my friends who lives in California, USA, and he decided that we should do something in Pakistan for meeting environmental challenges and penetrate in transportation industry somehow. So the easiest way was to start with motorbikes. So our vision was to create a compelling robo-mobility solutions, providing company with futuristic approach for sustainability. So next slide, please. So my friend met me, and we started discussing the idea. He had already worked over it and developed some benchmarks for it, and found some good resources of and developed some idea of how to do it. And then he asked me to join, and I joined with him. I worked for realizing that idea and converted that idea into a reality, and prototype was developed. So our idea was that there are 20 million two-wheelers in Pakistan. So we want to convert them for better environment to electrical motorbikes. And then with the passage of time, we developed the idea that earlier we were thinking of removable batteries which could be stored at house. Then we realized that we should do something else. I mean, if the way you go to petrol pumps and fill the fuel in just 5 minutes, you could what you could do is you could change the battery at some station and swap your battery with the new one, which is charged, and go ahead. And that should be done in a very short time. So we decided to make a motorbike on that concept. So next slide, please. So our problem statement was to develop an electric bike to lead the transition to electric transport in Pakistan based on futuristic technologies. The idea was that our bike should be aesthetically very good. It should be, design should be very functional, which meets our requirement. And then it should have some sporty look. So next slide, please. So basically, design is the synthesis of ideas, different ideas, and to develop a final concept and then realize it, so to develop a solution for the problems you are given. Design may not always be a new idea, because we see iteration of cars every 4 years. So we see new cars, new models, and these models now needed to be, what kind of problem they are going to solve is they want to solve that problem with all the new technologies that are available at that time and that could be implemented in the design, and a better solution can be provided for the people. I mean, you cannot use the car of 60s for this day You cannot afford the difficulty of driving that vehicle and the controls and the problems that were present at that time, although at that time it was the best solution. So next slide, please. So design is a difficult thing in which you have to merge all your ideas. First of all, it starts with the need in the market and design brief with which you start working. Then there should be investment climate, business strategy, how to develop that product and bring that product into the market. There are aesthetics, there is industrial design element involved in the design very heavily. It influences the customers it helps in getting a good market for a company. Then there are specifications, what kind of accessories this vehicle will have or this product will have, and how good it is as compared to its competitors to compete in the market. Then there is another factor of sustainability, how our product will perform during the whole life cycle, and how it harms the environment, or how is it is good for the environment. Then definitely the most important thing is the technology behind, technology involved in the design of your product. So beside market needs, all these factors were very important for us, and we are struggling for a number of things at the moment, because we have to be competitive with the gasoline based motor vehicles in the market. We have to provide a better solution to the people, and this is not easy. The batteries are very expensive at the moment, and even the cost of a good battery, in the cost of a good battery, you can buy the low cost motorbike in the market. So that is a big challenge for us. Next slide, please. So I think everybody knows this, just repeating how the design process goes. The design is normally based on the need. Sometimes you get a brilliant idea, a very new idea, which doesn't exist. You can say that was the thought of maybe Tesla at that time, that to develop electric vehicles and put them in the market. So that can be the starting point of your product. Then sometimes you realize that there is a need of certain product in the market, and that doesn't exist there, and you start working over it and you develop that. Other way is that you see there is a gap, there is a solution for that category of people with that income, but there is nothing for a specific category of people in the market. So you can start working over that idea and develop the product. And the other thing is that you work on the existing product, like you have to give a new model of the product every 5 years or 10 years, which is maybe household product or the automotive product, sort of new models of the vehicles. And on the other hand, we see a good change in the electrical household products, which are getting inverter based, using DC motors instead of AC motors. So because these are more efficient and we want to utilize that kind of technology. So then once need is there, you need to define your problem and you need to understand your problem. That is a very basic step of moving ahead for solving the problem and developing the product. For that purpose, you need to have a good brainstorming session with your fellow friends. In that process, brand and product history is studied, what kind of traits that brand has and what kind of values that brand has, and you have to work accordingly. The competitors' products are studied, then focus group is studied. In this focus group, you focus on the target audience or target market which will purchase that product, and you study how they use it, what are their requirements, what kind of user experience what they want, and how they want the vehicle or product to behave. Then environmental concerns are there, that we are not going to harm our environment and protect the mother nature. Then we do some benchmarking. We say that our product should be of that level or compete with this product or this standard in the market. We do research work on current technologies or upcoming technologies. We do research work on new materials, what kind of materials are available, which are efficient to use, and how they act for our product. For example, at the moment, there is increasing usage of carbon fiber in the market. The automobiles are converting from steel to aluminum to carbon fiber. But carbon fiber is at the moment expensive technology, and it's difficult to mass produce. But with the passage of time, they are overcoming those hurdles. Then the manufacturing methods, these are important. How you will produce that product, okay? How you will manufacture it. Are the facilities available for this product to be manufactured easily? Or you are talking about some very hi-fi technology which is not available at the moment? Then you need to study, being a designer, the latest trends in the market, the styling trends, what kind of styling is there. For example, there was a time of very organic design, and at the moment there is some edgy design at the moment. Then there is final design brief, which is prepared, that our product will have a definite place in the market, which is this place. It is produced for that kind of market segment, and it will be using this kind of materials, this kind of technology, and will be produced in that specific method, and it will have that kind of styling. So next slide, please. So then you develop some design themes and start working on your concept, and concept sketching starts. You develop some solutions related to technologies that we will be using that kind of technology for our design, and then the mechanism involved in the product. Mock-ups are built, and then all the ideas which are brainstormed are analyzed, which one gonna work for us, which one gonna synthesize with all the other ideas, and how we gonna get a good design. So all the ideas are merged together to develop a concept. Once concept is done, concept design is done, then there is package drawing, tape drawing, renderings are built, CAD model is done, and then 3D model is done, prototyping. Once prototyping is done, the product is tested, design is validated, then manufacturing is done. It is planned how the product will be manufactured, what kind of components this product will have, then how this will be produced in assembly line to be laid out, how the product will be marketed, then it has some useful life. After useful life, it has to recycle. So this last one is recycling. Okay. So next slide, please. So after our discussion that we're gonna build an electric motorbike, the next idea was to define the market segment, which was done by our friend Mr. Lake, and he did market surveys and found some requirements in the market, and then we were looking for some good resource for developing our batteries. Then we realized that we need to work on battery by ourselves if we want to control the cost. Okay, so I found a good contact with Dr. Hassan Arshad. So he is head of energy storage system. So that is our core team for for our product, for our design and development of the product, and taking this whole business model to realization. So the teamwork is very important. You need to know how to develop the product, and you need to find the best people who can perform these tasks. So next slide, please. So our mission was to accelerate to zero carbon emission world. Our bike should be electric, it should be always connected. The app is developed for our bike, which will tell where the bike is, what is the charge in the battery, and the location of the motorbike. This is very good product for fleet management, in which the people have a number of bikes for their business, for delivery purposes, and the business manager may know where each of his driver is. So then we were looking for swappable batteries. So this is the whole product is designed in Lahore, my home city in Pakistan, and we manufactured here. So next slide, please. So the our challenges were design challenges were ownership experience, how the customer will maintain it. We have to remain competitive in price with the gasoline engine. We couldn't be competitive. We can't be competitive, but we have to prove that we are competitive in the whole experience of honoring the vehicle and running. So overall costs are very challenging for us. We had to keep the whole bill of material of our vehicle to a very low level. So the most expensive thing is lithium battery. Then we had the idea of swappable batteries. And we developed some different model for reducing the cost of the vehicle, so that customer may not feel that he is paying too much cost as compared to gasoline engine. So we had an idea of subscription of energy requirement per month. So we will be charging subscription cost and charging the battery cost in per month basis, which will include battery cost and energy cost as well. So overall, our challenge is to be competitive and to provide competitive ownership experience to the customers. So next slide, please. So this is market research, right? You can see these lines. These are based on the cost: 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. This is the place of our premium model, and this is far expensive than all the bikes available in the market. Then we thought of another model, which should be a mainstream model to be sold in high numbers. The above model is to tell what we can do, and the model below is to show provide solution to the masses. Okay, so we are not going to develop special structure, chassis structure, and this kind of thing for this low cost model. Still, we are much higher than all the other market in terms of price. So next slide, please. So these are the numbers which we had to compete in terms of weight, torque, RPM, torque at specific RPM, power available for the market products, top speed, mileage, length, width, height, wheelbase, seat height, and this is the data that is required from all the market and competitors, and we had to decide our product based on this data. Where should we lie? So next slide, please. Once we decide some technical features, we need to understand what are the requirements of our consumer or customer, what kind of lifestyle he has, and we have to study the role models for that purpose. And during the study of role models, we know how that person, how the user will live and lives, and how he uses in his life that product, and what are his requirements, and how we can help him have a better experience as compared to others. Next slide, please. So in product design, study of generations is also important. We categorize generations into these main categories: baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, and now Generation Alpha. The time for baby boomers was from 1943 to 1960, 61 to 80 is Generation X, 81 to 2000 is Y, and 2001 to 10 is Generation Z, and then Generation Alpha. So these people born during belonging to certain generation have different traits because they lived at different time when the they had the technology at that time, how well it was, and what kind of environment they lived, that impacts their habits and their usage of the product. So we have to study our client, how he will, what he expects from the product, and how will he use that product. I mean, you cannot give all the electrical gadgets and electronic devices in for a generation of baby boomers, right? So Generation X, Generation Y will be able to use all the modern technologies. So the requirements for all the generations are different. So that is important in the study. And you also see that the energy level is very high when you go to the next generations. But the purchasing power belongs to the older generations. The older the man gets, the more wealthy he is. So that means more purchasing power he has. So the best power maybe belong to Generation X because they are at the peak of their careers. So next slide, please. I think we have the idea of career growth. This is only for the students. We can think of the automotive designers. Then belonging to Generation Y is Mir Sadikov, the designer from Baku, Azerbaijan. He is young and enthusiastic designer and a career starter. Then there is Adrian von Hoendok, which is who is at the peak of his career, the chief designer for BMW. And then there is Peter Haubrey, who is at the moment working with, I think, Geely of China. So he's very stable. His requirements are quite different. So this person is very enthusiastic. He's a career starter. So next slide, please. When we have studied all the designs, all the research work is done, and then it's time to get enthusiastic and develop your designs, develop themes for it, and think how our design will look like. So this was the theme for my design, which was Julieta. And this is Bleeding Heart. I developed 3 basic designs for my vehicle. So the inspiration was this. Next slide, please. So this is the final product. It has waterproof motor. It is using lithium battery, which has at least 5 years of life. It can go in one charge 120 kilometers. Its top speed is 100 kilometers, and it has 0 to 60 kilometers in less than 5 seconds. Next slide, please. It has the swappable batteries with the idea of swap and go in just 2 minutes. You can remove the battery and replace it with the charged one and go ahead. So I think this is the requirement of this day to be on this kind of solution this day, or maybe just near future. Next slide. We are coming to an end. It was too long. So that is battery recycling, which is important for sustainability, how lithium batteries will recycle. So once their life is finished, they can be decomposed into its components and can be recycled. Our bike is based on steel structure. Steel for its chassis structure. We couldn't go for carbon fiber as we are already struggling with cost. Carbon fiber is a lot more cheaper, but very expensive, lot more lightweight, but far expensive. So we cannot go that kind of technology, and that kind of technology is not easily available in Pakistan as well. So next slide. So that was the last slide, and we can have question answers. Thank you for bearing with me for such a long time.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Imran. Wait, I'll need to open my camera, but I think there's some problem with my camera. Can you hear my voice, Mr. Imran?
Yes, yes, I can hear.
Yeah, okay, right.
It was pleasure for me to be with you with the and share my experience.
Yeah, thank you very much for the sharing. Okay, guys, do you have any questions to ask Mr. Imran?
I have some questions for Mr. Imran. Hi, Mr. Imran. My name is Amirul. So, based on the slides, I've seen that you presented based on EV bikes or motorcycles. So, for our semester, this semester, I am planning to be making an EV motorcycle. So, I would like to know the parts of a motorcycle. Which part of it is it important, and which part of it is essential to build a motorcycle that based on EV train? That's all for my question.
Okay, do you clear with the
Well, I think
Yep. Yeah, Imran?
so. You want to build?
Yep.
So you want to build an electric bike? I think all the parts are important. The most important is how you integrate all the concepts and develop the whole idea. So I think chassis structure is very important, which has to integrate all these parts. Battery should be I think IP67 and at least IP67 waterproof, and motor as well, because we have in Pakistan flooding situations when there are heavy rains, and it is quite possible that there is sort of flood on the roads, and it has to immerse for some time. So does it answer your question?
Yeah, that's my yeah. That answer my question. But may I know like the important parts of an EV bike, like the battery, besides the battery and the motor of an EV bike?
Yeah, basically
Like
battery, motor, and motor controller, right? These are the three components
Oh.
for drivetrain. And these are the basic components for any electric vehicle.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So
That's
selection of good motor is important.
So thank you for the question. Do you have any question, guys? Would you like to ask Mr. Imran?
Sorry, I want to ask a question for Mr. Imran.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you available?
Yeah.
Mr. Imran, hi. My name is
Hi.
Zani. I want to ask, I've seen the concept of swappable battery for EV bikes. So is it can be used for specific model, or it can be swappable with other models also in that concept? Like
You are talking Gogoro bike, Gogoro battery.
Yep. Sorry.
You are talking about Gogoro battery, which is swappable.
The swappable battery. Just now you've present about it. So is it can be used for specific model only, which is for only, for example, for maybe scooters, or is it can be used for other models like sport bikes or cars?
Yes, basically, what we are looking for is we want to develop a business around the battery, swappable batteries as well. Okay, that is sort of a separate business, and we want our battery to be used by different users, maybe for three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and not only our bike. And what they can do is the number of batteries as per requirement.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes.
Yes. So that battery can be used for other type of bike. For example, if got maybe a new segment or new model, so it can be use it also to that different kind of bike. Is it the ones that like that, Imran?
Yes, we want to improve our network. We want the other people to also come to our network and use our battery
Yeah.
for all the electric vehicles.
Okay, good. That's looks like a brilliant strategy over there.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have to successful in the market.
Yeah. Before you can produce a really good production of a motorcycle, you have got a good strategy for that battery market. Means the concept of using or utilizing that battery can be fully utilized. For example, if you want to travel, maybe like you said, around 100 kilometers, is it? The distance for one
Yeah,
car?
it depends. It depends upon the motor power.
Okay.
But for kilowatt, it should be able to provide a range of 70-80 kilometers.
Okay.
So making two batteries increase the range.
Yeah. So at least there is one station for battery charger at one petrol station, for example, right? So it must have a lot of place to placement for the battery. So it will be easier for the user to change their battery. Yeah.
Yes, our idea is that the stations are available, and the user, when the battery is going to finish, he is in that area. He can find it from the app, where is the nearest station, and he can go there and replace his battery.
Yeah, that's good. All right, guys, if you have any other questions to ask? Well, I think that's it, Mr. Imran. I'm sorry, my camera doesn't work. So you can
No issue, no.
hear my voice. I'll try to solve it, but
Yeah, I can see your picture as well.
okay. Now we are at the end of our session, and then I would like to, on behalf of our class, I'd like to thanks very much to our speaker, Mr. Imran, that share with us with his experience and his knowledge regarding developing the new electric motorcycle in Pakistani market. And then we wish Mr. Imran very good luck and very good ahead with these projects. And then if we have some more time, we will again invite Mr. Imran to share with us the progress and so on. For your information, this student will have another semester next, I think coming July. then they will grad in their degree by the end of this year, hopefully, inshallah. All right.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
Mr. Imran, thank you very
Late.
much. Okay, thank you very